Continue with After Hours from anterior cervical discectomy and fusion surgery to the Canucks' best player early in the season. So what a story, and we're delighted to have Derek Dorsett, the pride of Kindersley, Saskatchewan, with us on After Hours. So 4 tiny screws holding the C5 and the C6 vertebrae together in your neck. There's a plate, there's a washer, there was bone taken from your hip, so it's all very delicate, intricate surgery. And yet you've had the best start of your career. Is there some sort of bionic man effect in play here?
No, I don't know. It sounds a little more scary than it actually was. You know, I knew I was in good hands going down to LA and seeing Dr. Watkins and Dr. Watkins Sr. and Dr. Watkins Jr. So, you know, it was a long process, but I don't know why I've had such a great start. Maybe it's because I've seen
that you with Dr. Watkins Jr., right?
Jr., yes, right. Yeah. That's about maybe 2 or 3 hours after surgery, and that's about an hour or 2 after surgery. So
it's Dr. Watkins Jr. and Sr., and that's the team that did the surgery on Peyton Manning. Same procedure, right?
That is correct. Yes, that's me laying by the pool at the hotel across the street the next day. So
smile on your face, though. That's what I love. You know, your attitude was great throughout the whole process.
Yeah, for sure. Obviously, you know, there was some ups and downs, but you know, and you can see him a picture of my little guy there. You know,
that's Dylan, right?
That's Dylan, yeah. And then I have another little guy, Ethan. You know, it made the days go by a little bit quicker. You know, sometimes we get wrapped up in this crazy world of compete, and when you can go home and see the smile on your kid's face and they're healthy and you know you're on the way to be healthy, it's puts life into perspective.
Okay, we're going to get back to this incredible comeback and your recovery in a moment, but first we have to address a very significant win by the Canucks tonight and your role in it, Louis.
It was, you know, and I mean, that's a pretty tough task. You guys went head-to-head early on against the Crosby line, and just talk a little bit about tonight, what the game plan was. You said to me you played a couple great games, you didn't get rewarded. Tonight you felt you could have played better, but you found a way to win this one.
Yeah, you know, obviously Pittsburgh's a dangerous team. You know, they've won 2 Stanley Cups in a row, and we knew coming in that it was going to be a fast game, and we knew we had to stay out of the box. We got in a little bit of penalty trouble at the start, and you know, they got an early one on us on their power play, and you know, the guys stuck to it, and good thing we had Best going tonight because he saved us.
Derek, you had some numbness with or concerns about numbness early last season, and then you had that game in Arizona in November where you were rubbed almost innocently from behind, and both arms went numb, and shortly after that you found out that you were going to have the surgery. This is the kind of thing, though, you endured earlier in the season. Were you at all thinking, when you were told of the surgery and how complicated it was going to be, that this is the price I pay for playing the game the way I did, and this could be the end of my career?
You know, there's a lot of emotions. You know, that hit that you just showed against LA, that was obviously, I thought I broke my collarbone. I felt something pop. I broke my collarbone years ago, and it kind of felt like the same thing. And I just kind of lost feeling of my arm there. That's why I was kind of hunched over like that. But, you know, I've had in the past 1 or 2 stingers throughout the season, and then it would just kind of go away in 30-40 seconds. But that one just kept staying around. It was around for about 90 minutes. And then we kind of did some rehab, missed a couple of games, came back. It came back again, and it just kept coming back more frequent, and the numbness started staying longer periods of time. And the last incident against Phoenix, like you said, it was just an innocent push for the guy to change direction and go the other way, and actually both arms went numb. So I went back to the dressing room and was chatting with them, and you know, I broke down a little bit. They told me that they were shutting me down until they could figure it out, and at that point it probably looked like something had to be done, whether it was surgical or a long rehab process.
I'm not sure that either the fans or the media expected that you would be in the lineup here on opening night, but you were, and you did a spectacular job in shutting down Connor McDavid. We've got some video of it, and I guess everything that's happened early in the season for you flowed from this. In fact, through 9 games, you were the only player in the league to lead his team in goals, points, shooting percentage, hits, and penalty minutes. So not much has changed from the Highway 21 League in Saskatchewan. Anyway, the last 2 categories confirm your style has not changed. How is it you weren't even tentative coming back?
You know, I almost felt like it was my first time coming back. I had a lot of nerves and emotions, and I was sometimes when you play on nerves and emotions, you play your best, and for some people that didn't think I would maybe come back from this injury or should be in the lineup, that's noise outside of my control, and I just control coming to the rink, working hard every day. I worked hard through the rehab process in the summer and trained really hard, and there's a lot of people that helped me through that. And I came into camp in good shape. Travis and the coaching staff have given me the opportunity to play big minutes, and knowing that we were the shutdown line, me and Sutsy and Granny, almost from day one of training camp in preseason, it makes your job a lot easier coming to the rink, knowing what your job is, and if you're even at the end of a night like tonight, playing against probably the best player in the world.
Two of them, Crosby, Malkin.
Yeah, with a lot of firepower, you've done your job, and you don't have to worry about the points and the stats, and so we've really embraced that role, and we're having fun with it and enjoying it.
Okay, just over a week ago here, you scored number 6 against the Washington Capitals, the wraparound against Braden Holtby. So that was your 6th of the season, as I say, and your whole family was here to see it. Your mother, your father, your grandmothers, your brothers, and your wife in the box here at Rogers Arena. What did that mean to you?
Well, first off, I knew my grandma Rose and my mom were in town because they were staying at my place, but I had no clue that any of my family members were at the game. And actually, you can see me sitting there on the bench, and I was kind of like, how did this happen?
Your 500th game had happened earlier, though.
Yeah, it had happened in Ottawa. My dad made it to that game. Yeah. He came out to Ottawa for that one, and I knew something maybe would be brewing up, that they were going to surprise me. Sometimes 500 isn't a huge milestone for people. Usually they celebrate a 1,000 game milestone, but for what I went through last year, and I think my family just wanted to show that they're the support that they've always shown me throughout my whole career.
Louis.
Derek, I've always loved the way you played the game. It's just with passion, and I used to refer to guys like you, and I have referred to you before, as the spinal fluid of the team. Go figure, you had the neck injury, but you kind of are what make everything ticks for the team. You bring the guys into the fight, you drag them into the fight. You're getting rewarded this year with some more playing time, some offensive opportunities, but that tenacity you play with, your dad said you've always played that way. Where did that come from?
I think it from family. I think I come from a blue-collar family, a small working-class family, that very entrepreneurial family, that you do your work, you do what you're told, and you succeed if you always put the effort in. And my dad always preached to me the 4 Ds, and I've lived by them for my whole life, and I owe a lot to them. It's my brothers. We've come from a very competitive family. At Christmas times, whether we're on the ice, outdoor rinks, or swinging golf clubs, I can remember stories of cousins getting hit in the face with golf clubs because they're fighting over who shot next and who was winning. So it's we come from a very competitive family, and I think that's made me who I am today.
Chad,
sure.
I talked to your brother Chad this week, and he said that the three of you, Chad, and Mike, your middle brother, fought constantly, but then someone else would come into the scrap and the three of you would turn on him. I guess that's how it always went. Listen, we got a lot of ground to cover here, so I'm going to ask you to tell this story as quick as you can. Hockey was in your blood as a tot in Kindersley, always the smallest guy on the team. You were cut from every midget AAA team. You were a little bit bigger than this when you tried out for the midget AAAs, but you were cut from every midget AAA team you tried out for, and not 2 or 3 times, but 10 times. Why didn't you give up?
Well, I think my dad kept pushing me. I went, like you said, to every North Battleford, Yorkton, Moose Jaw, Swift Current. I went everywhere across the province, and I tried out, and all my friends were making it, and I just wanted to play. I just wanted to do what my friends were doing, and my dad pushed me, and I remember I broke my hand in a junior A camp before I was going to my last main camp in North Battleford, and I didn't tell anyone. I had a boxer fracture on my 5th metacarpal, And I went to the camp, and I ended up getting sent back, and came back, and on the way home, I told my dad, I said, Dad, I think my hand's broken. Showed him it. It kind of looked like a softball. So we went and got x-rays when we got home to Kinnersley, and sure enough, it was broken. And I just told my dad, I said, Dad, I'm done. I'm done chasing it. I could have probably went to Moose Jaw camp later, a couple weeks after that. And I just said to my dad, I said, I'm done. I'm spent. And my dad said, okay, listen, I'm going to help coach the midget AA team. And I said I wanted to be affiliated with the senior team in town. And I never ended up playing any senior games, but then the next year I made midget AAA.
Okay, so you had a good thing going with the Kindersley Clippers of the Saskatchewan Junior League. You'd been to the Royal Bank Cup the year before. You're having the time of your life with Clippers, playing with your best friend Josh
Sim and Troy Schwab.
Yeah. And then Medicine Hat comes calling. They make you an offer. You've got some footage here of how effective you were as a Tiger. So you don't really want to go to Medicine Hat. And in fact, you're standing at the 7-Eleven bus stop with your buddy Josh and your grandmother, and you're all crying. That's how bad that you don't want to go.
Yeah.
But you're waiting for the Medicine Hat Tiger bus to come pick you up to take you to the first game you're going to play with the team in Saskatoon. And you pick up the story from there because it's better when you tell it.
Yeah, you know, it's not that I didn't want to go to Medicine Hat. I didn't want to leave my teammates.
Right.
You know, I'd played 25 games. We'd come up short of winning the national championship in the Royal Bank Cup finals the year before, and I was an underage there. I came out from midget AAA for just the playoffs, and we had a really good team. We had almost all of our guys returning, so we were the #1 team in the country at the time. And I just didn't want to leave my teammates, but it was the year of the lockout, and my dad said, you know, if the size you are, if you're going to prove to NHL scouts, now's the time, because all the scouts will be in the stands watching because there's no NHL hockey going on. And so I talked to a couple of my friends, you know, Troy Schwab and Josh Sim, Chris O'Connors, Gio Firmino, guys like that, and they said, you know, you got to go, you got to go, and you got to go to Medicine Hat. So the next day,
so the bus comes.
The bus comes.
And you get on.
I get on, and at the time, I bet you I was 154 pounds soaking wet.
And Willie Desjardins had told the team, we're picking up this tough kid who's leading the Saskatchewan Junior League in penalties. He's going to help us.
Yeah, and he told Steve Marr and all these guys, and I got on the bus, and I was scared crapless, and I sit down, and I see Steve Marr come up past and sit down with the coach, and you know, I could see them kind of chuckling or whatever, but the story comes out, Steve Marr went up and said, I thought you said we got a big tough guy.
You got the wrong guy, he said, yeah.
He said, I think you got the wrong guy.
Okay, so despite your reluctance to go there, the 3 seasons in Medicine Hat couldn't have worked out better. As you said, the scouts were around because of the lockout year, so you got some attention. And you got drafted by the Columbus Blue Jackets. So here's the man who actually drafted you.
When asked about a vivid memory of Derek Dorsett, I think back to the 06 rookie training camp in Traverse City. That was his first training camp after the Columbus Blue Jackets. We drafted him in the 7th round, 189th overall. And I see this little guy, 5'11", 160 pounds, shuffling around the ice. And I'm thinking, okay, this is our 7th round pick. It looks like a good spot to have taken him. All of a sudden, this lady walks up to me and she said, you see that kid out there, that number so-and-so, that's Derek Dorsett. And I said, yeah. And she said, he's going to play in the NHL because he's tough, he's got character, and he will make it. And I said, and who are you? And she said, I'm Mrs. Dorsett, I'm his mother.
So now we know where you got your toughness. In fact, Jan said, your mother always said if you're going to fight, you might as well win, and you've won a few of them.
Yeah.
Here's a tweet from Gary Sedin. Tell us about learning to drive at age 3.
Well,
as quick as you can.
Yeah, so my parents owned and operated the A&W restaurant, and Kinnersley Minor Sports wouldn't let me play for insurance reasons, so my dad loaded my older two, my brothers Mike and Chad, up, and cousins, and we played in a little town called Brock, Saskatchewan. Steve McIntyre's from. And we pull up to the A&W first thing in the morning to grab breakfast, and the lady comes to the window and says, Dean, the dishwasher's on fire. So my dad jumps out of the truck, runs in. He's going to save his restaurant, right? That's what you could do. And of course, he forgot to turn off the truck and take the keys. And that time we had the bench seat, so I jumped over and I just yanked the gear shift down and was standing on the floor mat, and I just throttled it. And my mom every day parked right at the end of the drive-through, and there's a fence that wrapped the restaurant and a garbage bin. and I just plowed my dad's truck with my two brothers in the passenger seat. Just plowed my dad's truck into the side of my mom's car and put it like up on its side or through the fence.
Wonderful start to your driving career. We got to go quickly to your family here. You and Allison have 2 healthy, beautiful sons. Dylan, who is soon to be 3. Ethan, I think, who's almost 2. Credit where credit is due here. Quickly tell us, how much did Allison have to do with your recovery from surgery?
Oh,
30 seconds.
Yeah, she was great. I mean, she flew down to LA, and we had my mom come to Vancouver, look after our kids, and I couldn't.
Is that Stetcher dressed as an elf there?
Yeah, it is, and I think that's Brennan Gaunce's Santa Claus too. So don't let my son know that. He thought I was Santa Claus, but yeah, she was a rock. I mean, she's been great with our kids. Getting them to gymnastics and play times, and it was hard for me because I couldn't lift them. So.
Perfect. Derek, it's been great to have you on the show, and congratulations on your comeback. So there is Derek Dorsett of the Vancouver Canucks, who is an early candidate for Comeback Player of the Year.